So I know the general sentiment these days is that it's really hard to land a software job compared to years prior. In years prior, you could go to a boot camp and then you can get a software job really quickly and then maybe get a software job within a year. But nowadays, people are graduating with CS degrees, software degrees, and then they can't even get a software job after a year after graduating. I've even heard stories of senior software engineers who got laid off from their previous jobs and now they're looking for a new software job, but even them with their experience and even with their degrees, even they're struggling at finding a software job. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about my application process, how I got my first software job, my second software job, and some things that I noticed about myself that really helped me stand out to my employers. And then I'm also going to talk about my experience as part of the employer side of this interviewing process and how my employer perceived these candidates that were applying for my company. So let's get started. By the way, if you're in the early stages of your programming journey, I've got a special gift for you. It's called my 30-day beginner coding challenge. And it's a guide that will take you from no coding experience to building your first 4 projects. And the best part is it's free. It's a free gift to you. In this coding challenge, I guide you in 30 days to build 4 programming projects, and I give you some tutorials that are in C. But of course, these projects are really generic and really beginner friendly, and so you can actually code them in different programming languages. You can still benefit from this guide because you can just take the principles that are in my challenge and then apply them to your programming language. You can find the challenge in the link in the description, and if you download it and pay attention to what it says, you'll definitely learn some fundamental programming concepts that will give you a good foundation to your software development journey. So here's the story how I got my first software job. So my first software job was a research position in the field of networks and security, and this was referring to computer networks. And so I had to code in a lot of different programming languages like C++, Python, Java, JavaScript. And the reason why I got that job was because of an internship that I had. So that internship was after my junior year of college, and it was in information assurance. And so it aligned really well with my eventual company's networks and security group. So I went to the career fair and I saw my company there. This was before I was employed there. And then I went there and I gave them my resume, and someone from the networks and security group saw my resume and he saw my internship, and then he circled that internship on my resume. And next thing you know, I got a call from that company and they asked me to come in for an interview. When I went to that interview, I found out that the people at my department knew personally the director of my internship. And so that's how I got my first software job. So 2 key takeaways from that experience is that first, you need to have an internship that aligns with the company that you're applying for. And also, secondly, connections are really important when it comes to landing a software job. Well, maybe now you're thinking, well, I don't have that personal connection, so does that mean that I can't get a software job? Well, this leads me to how I got my second software job. So my second job is in the field of embedded software development, in particular digital signal processing. And the way I got that second job was, first of all, I had a good software experience. So my company needed someone with a good software experience, but furthermore, I had a good electrical engineering background. I had my bachelor's and my master's in electrical engineering, and in my bachelor's and master's, I specialized in digital signal processing. So I had a good educational background that helped me understand the theory of what my company is trying to do, all the mathematical concepts, all of the algorithms that they want to implement into a product. But then I also had a good software experience that helped me apply all of these theoretical concepts and put them into hardware and software into an embedded system. And so this leads me to the idea of talent stacking. The concept of talent stacking was popularized by Scott Adams, the author of Dilbert. And he said this really interesting quote. He said, "The idea of a talent stack is that you can combine ordinary skills until you have enough of the right kind to be extraordinary. You don't have to be the best in the world at any one thing. All you need to succeed is to be good at a number of skills that fit well together." And then he expands, "For example, I'm not much of an artist, not much of a business expert, and my writing skills are mostly self-taught. I'm funny, but not the funniest person in my town. The reason I can succeed without any world-class skills is that my talent stack is so well designed." So going back to my story, I'm not the best at digital signal processing, I'm not the best programmer in the world, but when I put these two together, I become a really good fit for my company. One of the inspirations for why I'm doing this video is because I had a student recently ask me this question about his career. He said that he studied biochemistry in university and received a degree in it, but then he realized that he didn't want to work in a lab all day, so he decided to pursue healthcare, specifically radiation therapy, and then he realized that he didn't want to work in a hospital, so now he is working at a hotel as a front desk clerk. And now he's unsure if he wants to grow in hospitality or switch careers into the tech sector. So he asked me some career advice, and this is what I told him. So first I told him that from a Christian perspective, because I'm a Christian, I believe in God's sovereignty. And so I believe that God leads us into different seasons of life for a particular purpose. So I believe that nothing that we experience in this life goes to waste. So I started with that. And then I mentioned that given his desire to learn how to program, I would encourage him to leverage those past experience to give him an edge in the programming world. So one thing I told him is that he could still work in a lab, but probably not in the same way as he did before that he doesn't like. So I said maybe he could support a team in building programs to help with data analysis. So like I mentioned earlier, he has that educational background already in biochemistry. So why not leverage that educational background and be able to use that to help with data analysis in the field of biochemistry. The other thing I told him is that he could possibly use programming to help with the field of hospitality and management at his hotel. So he already has that experience in hospitality, so he can leverage that experience to build programs for that industry that other programmers couldn't possibly understand or build. So the main idea I want you to take from this video is to really lean into your identity of who you are. Think about your past experiences, your educational background, who you are as a person, and try to put them together to create a talent stack that would really help you stand out. And I want to encourage you with this: if an employer rejects you, it may not be because you're a bad programmer. For me, I applied to many software jobs and I was rejected from those software jobs. And it's not because I was a bad programmer. I was a good programmer, but I just wasn't a good fit for that company. And I will always remember this story. I was at my company and we were interviewing people, and there was this one candidate with a really good resume. And his resume was really good. He had a really good experience. He had really good software experience. And when I was looking at it, I even thought that he was a better programmer than me. And I was looking at it and I thought for sure we were going to hire this guy. But then when I talked to my manager, we talked about it, my supervisor, and he said, "What do you think? Do you like this guy?" And I said, "Yeah, I think he's pretty good. He seems pretty qualified for the job." And then my manager said, "I think he's too qualified for the job." And so it just really goes to show you that you really need to be a good fit for the company if you're going to get that job. One last story before I go. I was talking to this guy who did a boot camp and he was able to become a web developer. And I asked him how he was able to get his job. And he said the main way he was able to get his job is because he was good at talking to people. He had good people skills, good soft skills, and that's really how he got the job. So he really leaned into his identity. He was good at software and he was also good at talking with people. And so that's how he was able to land his job. So the bottom line here is to really figure out who you are, lean into your identity, and figure out what you can really offer to the world through your talent stack and apply for jobs that match your talent stack. Alright, I want to hear from you too. What is your talent stack? What are the skills that you can put together with software development that can help you really stand out to employers next time you apply for jobs? Please leave a comment down below and I'd love to hear your thoughts. Alright, like I mentioned earlier, if you're just starting off in your programming journey and you don't know where to start, you can download my 30-day beginner coding challenge. And it's a 30-day guide where I teach you how to build those 4 beginner programming projects. It's really beginner friendly and I go step by step on how to build each one and go through the tutorials that you need to build each one. So download that in the link in the description. Alright, that's it for this week's video. I hope it really helped you out and helped you think about your talent stack and think about how you can stand out to employers and find the right jobs. And if it did help you out, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And please leave a comment down if you have any other questions. I'd love to help you out. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.